All right. All right, everybody. Hi again. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Faton Limani. I am the president and founder of Albanian School in Liria. My entrepreneurship journey event, I am honored to introduce to you Eleni Mazija. Eleni Mazija is an 18-year-old photographer who found Eleni M Photography at the age of 14. Eleni is currently enrolled at Manhattan College as a marketing major. Ever since Eleni was a little girl, she enjoyed capturing special moments. She would hide in the room and record herself making videos of informing her imaginary audience on how her day went. Growing up, Eleni was very independent and always tried new things out. Over time, Eleni realized that the world needs an example of a young female who's independent and is doing what she loves. And so she went about it and did just that. She attended close family events and captured their special moments. Additionally, she is a dance teacher at Grupi Nora e Kelmendit, where she teaches Albanian folk dancing to ages 5 to 18. She's very involved in her community and wants to showcase her love for her culture and traditions from her birthplace, Albania. Her goal is not only to capturing special moments that will last a lifetime, but to be an example for young women, especially in the Albanian community. She wants to show others that doing what you truly love has no age, no level, no price, and no gender. If you are passionate about something, go for it. Well, I am honored to present once again Eleni Mazija, and uh, and I am so thankful that she got the time to come here with us and share her entrepreneurship journey, share her story. I mean, so far, what I read about her, it's amazing. It's very inspiring. But I am looking forward to hear more from her personally to tell us about how she came about to start her photography business, and yeah, and to tell us more about what she's looking forward in the future and where she sees herself in the future. Eleni, thank you so much for your time
Thank you for
and
that.
for your willingness to come here and share your story with us. The floor is yours.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. I hope you guys are doing well. I don't know if you guys prefer English or Albanian, but I'm going to mix a little bit of both, just how us Albanians are. Na pëlqen pak me fut shqipen atë kur jena të folë edhe anglisht. Kam me fillu pak vetëm just to introduce myself. My name is Eleni Mazija. Si që ta fatoni, unë jam 18 vjeqe. I was born in Shkodër, Albania, and I lived in a small town called Suka Dajqit. My family and I came here around in around 2009. I was like 5 years old. We came here. My parents won the lottery. The lottery, you get the American papers, so you end up coming to the U.S. When I came to the U.S., my family settled in New York, so I'm based in New York. Currently, I'm enrolled at Manhattan College as a marketing major. And I started photography at the age of 14, I would say, is when I first opened my Instagram account. You really have to have, you know, strength, and you have to have the mind for it to like kind of push yourself to, open something that has your name and that everyone's going to probably follow. So I'm the owner of Millennium Photography. I started at the age of 14, and it all started in my mom's room behind the door. The way I started was very unusual to stories you would hear. I would hide in my room and record myself, like making imaginary like videos. I would think that I was like filming YouTube videos. I always thought it was cool. Growing up, I really didn't have much friends because coming to a new country is definitely hard. It's not easy. You have to make new friends. You have to know the language. Um, so I thought that that was a way to express myself. So I found this one camera my brother had brought from Albania, and I would start recording myself. No clue if it was recording or not, but I would think it was. So I would take the camera, I would say, "Hi guys, how are you doing? How's your day?" I'm like, "Who am I talking to?" And then at the end of the day, some parts were recorded, some parts were not recorded. So I definitely thought I was going to get into videography, meaning I would get into doing video, but it was actually the opposite. I ended up loving photography. Um, just like I did the photos, the videos in my mom's room, I would take that same camera and go to my cousin's baptisms, my cousin's birthday parties. And I'm like, wait, that looks kind of cool. You know, maybe if I can use this thing that I have in my hand and get that, maybe I'll send it to them. They'll think that this is something different from the iPhone, because back then, a couple years ago, there was not, the iPhone 12 or the iPhone 11 or whatever's now with all those pro features. It was just some basic cameras that came from Albania. And then I ended up taking those pictures, giving them to them. And I was surprised. They were surprised. They were like, listen, like maybe this is something you can do in the future. And I really enjoyed capturing those special moments for people. But I was really scared because growing up, like as an Albanian female, you don't know what to expect. My parents didn't really stop me. They are strict. I won't say they're not strict, like the typical Albanian family. Um, but they were like, listen, like this is not something that's going to negatively affect you in the future. This is something that, you know, will put pride on your name. This is something you really love. We're not going to stop you. But of course, there's limits to everything. You know, being 14, going to do weddings, going to do engagements where random people you don't know, how much trust can you have, like in your daughter, for example? Um, and thankfully, my parents actually trusted me. They would take me, and they still take me today to all my events. It's either my dad or my brother. And they make sure that, not that I'm doing the event, but that, they know that they're inspiring me. They're not like kind of leaving me behind. Okay, you do what you want and that's it. It's kind of like do what you want. You have my support, and if you need help, I'm here. So that was something big that not everyone in our, culture does. We're not really used to supporting the girls mostly. We do like to not leave them behind, but it's harder for the girls to do things that, you know, are higher level than a guy's. I think that anything a guy can do, a girl can do. Not talking from a feminist point of view, but I really think that, something that my brother can do, I can potentially do. If it's not, at the same level, I know I can do it anyways, as long as I put my mind to it. And that's the way I came kind of about like photography. When I first started, I was kind of like thinking to myself, like, how can I really start? And over time, I realized that like, if I only put my mind to it and I said, I really love what I do, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do it, then that's kind of how like um I'm going to push myself to open this thing. And back like 4 years ago, Instagram was, like we like to say, getting poppin'. It was kind of getting out there. It was, showcasing many other people. And honestly, here in New York, it's really hard to find an Albanian female who, does photography. And ever since then, I got inspired by other people, of course. I saw it more as art rather than photography, because photography is basically art. And I was like, wait, this abstract thing that they're posting kind of looks like something I can do, like in the city. I can get, a picture of the city and kind of switch it around, go home, edit it, and make it, close to this abstract art that I'm seeing. Um, and then, so I would come home, I would do that. I would fail so many times, and I would just keep going. Not everything is perfect. And in this world, we need to understand that, like, you do something you love, at least you're doing something that you love, you know? As even if you fail at it, you know that this is something that you enjoy doing, so you're not going to give up. And it's kind of like what I said previously, if you put your mind to it, you'll get it moving, you know? I've had events where I've went to the event, weddings, my first ever wedding I would like to talk about like really quickly. Um I because I didn't take any course in photography ever, and it was kind of like I was just learning with the buttons. I went to this wedding and I was so scared. I was not sure like how I'm going to use this camera to get these, you know, professional Alba Pro pictures that we mentioned here in New York. Um, but when I went there, I got some different pictures compared to like what everyone else was doing. And I would come home and I'm like, okay, this one is horrible, and this is a perfect moment. But this is not a perfect moment. This is more of an off guard. And this looks perfect, for example. So it was kind of like a learning process, and I still feel like it is that way. Um, it definitely is hard. It's not easy, especially being a student and a photographer and a dance teacher and everything else that I do. But I think that it truly is possible. And as long as you do something that you love, it doesn't matter like what it is, as long as it's something that's not going to put a bad name on your, like, put a bad thing on your name, and is going to kind of uplift you, is going to get you somewhere, um, then you should be going for it. You know, I've had people say like, how'd you start photography? And I'm like, my mom's room. They're like, what does that mean? You know, it's kind of like I started off nothing or nowhere and like somewhere really random, but like today I'm getting places. For example, you know, I'm doing those big weddings, I'm doing those big engagements, those big photo shoots. And it's kind of like, you know, it's the dreams that I kind of had growing up, seeing like on TV, oh, like this fashion show looks awesome. Like I would love to be that guy there taking that picture, you know? Or like this wedding, like I'm dancing at the wedding and I'm like, oh, I really hope the photographer takes a really good picture, you know, so I can post it on Instagram. And most of the time it failed. Like, you know, it wouldn't come out like I thought it would. But I was like, okay, maybe I can be that person that I'm kind of like putting everyone to that standard and kind of like doing that for everyone, you know? I'll go to the wedding or the engagement or the baby shower, whatever it is. And I'm like, I got to make sure that everyone here has at least one picture, you know? It's kind of like I do what I do the same that, you know, I would want it to be done for me. So I've always like stuck with that motto, like, you know, I'm like, if I want my things to look like this, I want to make sure that someone has them the same way. And of course, nothing is perfect, but over time, you learn, you fail, you succeed, and you get places. Um, and that's kind of how like I got about it. Some of the biggest challenges, like I mentioned, failing, failing was bad. You know, I've had my camera stop, not professional at all, but you know, you're 14, you don't know, you're 15, you don't know, you've never taken a course, but it pushes you, it like puts your fears there, and it's like, okay, you need to keep moving, like there's something you can do to like, you know, take that moment of failure and kind of bring it up. And it really helped me in my character. um and today I wouldn't be talking to you guys if I didn't have this much courage. And I definitely think that I, you know, gained so many skills, especially communication skills through photography. And not only photography, but there's so many things that you can do out there that you'll never like think of, but they're possible, you know. It's especially as a female, and I don't know how many females we have here, but like it's possible. If you really like doing something, go for it. And that's the thing that I would like love for people to like kind of, you know, sink in, especially like with my little sister. I have a little sister and an older sister and older brother. But the little ones, when you grow up in a different country, she was also born in Albania. When you grow up in a different country, you kind of like start um, adapting to those, bad skills, that laziness. Like you're used to like your mom and your dad giving you money. I wasn't used to that. I didn't like that. I never did. I always thought that being independent was important, because one day you might be left alone, and you have to have a way out, and you need to start learning early so that in the future that how my mom, for example, works a 12-hour shift or more than that, how she makes that money. Like I would love to learn that. So I tried to enforce that on my sister too. And I was telling her that it's really important. Like, yes, you're a female, okay, you think that you're probably like less than the guys who are your age, but you're not. You can do it. Like you like something, go for it. If you don't like it, no one's forcing you, but there's always something that you'll like and something else that you can take from that, and you can kind of like build upon it. Like I've started so many weird companies, decoration companies, chocolate strawberry companies, jewelry. I've done it all. I've started it all. But at the end of the day, photography is what I truly love. And it's something that, you'll find over time. You need to try new things out so that over time you find that one thing that you really love. And I think that's kind of like, to sum it up, I really, if you learn one thing from me today, I've always like tried to enforce the fact that, doing what you love is important. And if you're doing what you love, you'll do it with pride. And if you're not doing what you love, then you're not in the right position in life. And it's sad that many people, are in the positions they are and they really don't love what they do. And, some are because of circumstances they're in, and some are, because of the way their character is built. But if you push yourself to do something you love, you're truly going to go out there, you're going to do it, and you're going to succeed. And I think that that's how you should go about life. And if that's one thing you learn from me, it would be amazing. And I think that's all I have for today. If you guys have any questions, I can answer any questions, but I definitely wanted to show you guys a small part of my Instagram, kind of, which is basically where my work is, if that's okay, Fatan.
Definitely, yes. We would love to see it.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna
Thank
try.
you.
I'm gonna try to share this. Okay, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, so this is basically the Instagram page where it's kind of like my portfolio. This is what I would call my portfolio. This is where I put everything I kind of do. It's like highlights of everything I do. As you can see here, the entrepreneurship journey. I do like to promote a lot of other, businesses and stuff on my stories, but here is mainly my work. So proposals, family shoots, surprise birthdays, weddings, maternity shoots. There's so much. And I still have so much work that I have to put out, but it's, it's hard being a student, like I said. It's definitely not easy. So I'm just going to show you just a little bit more. This is kind of like my summer work, my most prideful work. That's where the weather gets nice. I don't want to bore you guys anymore. So I'll stop sharing this. I'm going to try to stop sharing it. I do this for school too, so it's kind of like used for me. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to ask me. I can answer any questions you guys may have.
Well, thank you so much, Eleni, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your story and also for sharing your work. You know, the pictures, they are amazing. It's a
Thank
great
you.
work. No, really.
Thank you.
Yeah, if anybody in a second night if anybody has any questions for Eleni, feel free, unmute yourself and go for it.
Well, I want to ask her Eleni here because I saw her on Instagram. She got a one photo, I think, around 2 o'clock a.m. I'm like, Eleni here or no?
That's what everyone asks me. They're like, how do you do this? And
Exactly.
honestly, I like to say that I like to edit after midnight. That's what I like to say. So I slept this morning. I slept at 6 a.m. because I was editing. And then I was like, wait, I have something to do today. You know, maybe I should go to sleep before I end up not even going there. It's kind of like, you know, I really enjoy it, and I don't mind, you know, staying up late. I get it. Like, you have to make sure your health is okay first. But, you know, I kind of part everything I do into sections. So I want to make sure I have time for my family and I to kind of spend together, because I am in school. So I try not to edit on the weekdays, but then weekends I'm working. So I have to like find that, you know, perfect time. So yes, flyg kan jag hear now, but you know, styrash me flight core do het me ba punse. Just course I should pretty me ba dichka, then you know you're on the line to finish something. And you know, when you have a lot of events and stuff, you need to make sure everything is on time, of course. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. I see Ardit has raised his hand. Ardit?
Hi, Eleni. Thank you for taking some time out of your day to share with us your journey. And also, I wanted to say you had very beautiful pictures. I wanted to ask, hypothetically, let's say if you were still in Albania and you weren't in the United States, do you think you would have had a similar journey, or would it have been more different?
Thank you. Thank you for your question. I do get that question a lot. Thank you for your compliments, first of all. I appreciate it. I try. From here and Albania, they're two different countries with two different motives. It's really hard to kind of do what I did here in Albania, just because of the time being and the way that everything is shaped over there. And especially the town that I was kind of living in before I came here. You know, it was very, I wouldn't say poor, because my family was more on the, you know, on the medium level side, you know, the medium class. But it is hard. I don't think my journey would have been similar. I'm not even sure if I would have been going to school if I was in Albania, just because of the time and the way that, you know, school is enforced over there. And it's really sad that the country that, you know, I was born in is kind of like failing a little bit. But I wish that, you know, hopefully one day I can get back there and kind of do something to get everyone, you know, on the same level. Bella Presidenta, Dichka, you know. But yeah, I don't think my journey would have been similar. No, I definitely don't think. Would have probably just been a, you know, a village girl milking cows. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleni. Anybody else has any questions for Eleni? Maybe one day, Eleni, when your business really takes off here in the United States, you can open a branch in Albania, and then you can teach young girls there how to do photography and to go about following their passion.
I definitely forgot to mention a point of what the future, you know, I think the future will look like for me, and you know, my hopes are for the future. I think I'm either on two sides. You know, I'm either planning to have a team of my own that, you know, I'll bring around, you know, young professionals, young, you know, talented artists that can come together, you know, and build that one team that I've always dreamed of. Or my other thing is bring one of the only female photography teams here in New York. That's kind of one of my plans. So let's see how that goes about. Definitely want to go to Albania this summer. Hopefully, if COVID is a little, you know, slower, I wanted to work on a few projects and kind of showcasing Albania, especially here, because most of like Americans are unaware of what Albania is and what beauty it has behind it. And it's sad. It's really sad. I would love to kind of showcase Albania a little bit more, you know. I think that's very important.
Nice. Great. Anybody, if you have any question, just open the mic. Go ahead, speak. Yeah, you don't have to raise your hand. Arieta, if you have a question, just go ahead, say it.
Po, përshëndetje, uroj t'jeni mirë gjithë, dhe të na pak këto, situacja që është me nxeu lidha, pikos por, dhe na kena probleme rreth. Unë Eleni ndeshta me përgëzu për vullnetin dhe dëshirën që ka arrita që, edhe mu bo një biznesmen e femër e suksesshëm, edhe me përgëzu për punën. Pyetje s'kam, veç deshta me përgëzu dhe me ëruar.
Shumë faleminderit Arieta. Shumë faleminderit.
Urime.
Faleminderit Arieta. Dikush
Edhe
tjetër?
punë të parë një kësisht, në sukses e tjera shumë.
Shumë faleminderit.
Dikush tjetër? Në i pyetje, në i koment?
Feel free, I have all the time in the world.
I kemi edhe 20 minuta i kemi të eventit, kështu që pa merak.
Kam qef me fol atë na, e kam pak kolla din, jam su tash me fol.
That's good. That's great.
If anyone has any questions, I don't know, any type of questions, photography, business related, doesn't matter.
Lysos, go ahead. Yeah.
So you said like you've done like a whole lot of ventures, but your main like passion has always been photography. What types of things encouraged you to diverge and
I didn't hear you after diverge. I'm not sure. It was kind of cutting off.
Oh, what encouraged you to diverge and try different things?
Definitely the motivation that, you know, I had growing up. I was very independent. I thought that, you know, it's important to learn how to kind of make money yourself and not rely on your parents. And, you know, I was thinking like if photography, because, you know, in the Albanian community, especially here in New York, you're looked a certain way because of the fact that you're a female. And, you know, they think it's impossible. I'm not sure how it is around the world. I'm sure it's similar in Albania, because when Albanians here have that mentality, it's the same in Albania. But, you know, it's really important to try new things out, because you never know if something will work out. I really enjoy photography, but one day, you know, I'll wake up and I'll say like, listen, I don't want to do this anymore. It's natural. It's something that, you know, happens over time, and why not have different options so that, you know, when something fails, you have other things that kind of like can replace those other options that, you know, are probably impossible to do for you. I hope that answered your question.
Thank you, it did.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lysos. Eleni, I have a question. What is, in your industry, for example, in your sector, in your industry of photography, and what is that like? What is the pinnacle of the industry? What is that? You know, is like, what is the Amazon or Google of your industry? What is the highest level of success looks like in your industry?
Do you mean based on what exists now, or?
Okay, if you are in your retail or e-commerce, Amazon is like the ideal, like the highest level of success in this field, right? But
So,
in photography, what is that? To have your own Instagram, or what is the?
no, definitely not. Definitely
Why not?
No. here in New York, we based it off this one, you know, very successful company called AlbaPro. They are all actually Albanian origin, from Albanian backgrounds, and they have their own team. And I kind of like, growing up, I always, you know, base what my future was kind of to look like off the team that that person has, you know, motivating myself that, you know, hopefully one day I can be like that. So definitely a successful team that, you know, comes together and is, you know, booked every other day, for example. Someone who's, you know, in that high level position, provides high quality work, has that, you know, consistent clientele. It's important. It's important to kind of, you know, it's not the highest level, but as of now, I would think that, you know, because that is one of my goals, to be at that level, I think that that is the highest level for me now. And I think that when I achieve that level, I'll look into stuff that is definitely higher than that. So it's kind of like it pushes you to get to there.
Great, thank you. Anybody else? Any questions? Any comments?
I'd just like to add to this because we're talking about higher levels, and I'd just like to ask Eleni if she is considering attaching photography with also directing, let's say, or videos. So because when you were speaking and you were saying higher levels of photography, it actually come to my mind that something bigger than what photo studios, let's say, are like production industries, let's say Columbia Pictures, or I don't know, 21st Century, Hollywood in general. So are you thinking of aiming that high in the future if you still, let's say, like this photography and you still are doing this photography in the next 5 or 10 years?
I mean, definitely, you know, whatever is high, I want to be there, you know, I want to get to that higher level, but, you know, you need to move one step at a time. It's hard to go from number one to number 100, you know, it's really hard.
You can jump forth there.
You can jump, you know, you might fall a little bit, but, you know, it's easier if you go one by one and step by step. That way that, you know, you grow naturally, you learn over time, and you kind of like bring people with you, you know, everyone knows that you didn't just, you know, pay money to get there, you know, you really worked hard for it. Because you know how it is nowadays. Thank you.
Thank you, Edie. Any other questions? Any other comments? Anybody else? Feel free. You know, we try to make this as much, you know, informal and interactive as possible, because, you know, we want you to feel free to ask any questions, because it is very important, you know, even if you think that it's very trivial question that maybe, you know, you shouldn't ask. I think it's very important that you ask, because in this kind of, you know, in a journey for starting your own business or realizing your dreams and your idea, it's everything. It's important, even those things that you might think they are very simple or trivial.
Mirëmbrëma,
Po, Nertila, or no?
do doja të bëja një pyetje Elenit. Do doja ta pyesja kush është e fshehta e saj që nxjerr fotografi të bukura.
Faleminderit, Mirëmbrëma. Nuk e di se ku jeni ju, këtu kena pak.
Mirëmbrëma.
E sheta nuk I kallëzohet kujna, den e kena mësu kështu na me majt për vetja sekretin, por nuk e di, besoj se e fsheta është dëshira si e ke për diçka si ban. Edhe po, si që thash përpara, e pëlqeve diçka si ban, besoj se ty del puna ashtu siç e ke në zemër atë punë. Edhe pak, so that I can explain in English, you know, the way that your work comes about is based off the way you feel like, you know, you're doing the job. So however you feel like, you know, you really enjoy this job, you know that your work is going to come out the way that, you enjoy the job. Besoj se, me marrë me pozitivitet, munesh me ba gjithçka, a din? Po ja vune menjen aty, munesh, sa ta shtysh vetin, bahet. Nuk ka sekret, gjithkush, gjithkush e ka mënyrën e vet, e ka talentin e vet. Unë besoj se kam linj me atë talent me synin për diçka, edhe ma thot mama shumë herë, ti ke linj për këtë punë, më thot. Edhe e ke synin shumë nërsh si gjithkush tjetër, edhe e kap diçka si bela unë nuk e kishim kap në atë mënyrë si e ke kap ti, edhe është vetëm të njëri, të menja, të motiviteti si ke për vetin, për shtyve vetin, munesh me ba, nuk ka sekret tjetër besaj. Nuk ka asi technical sekret, nuk ka sekret fotografie, s'ka punë fotografie me ba me ta, është vetëm veti edhe menja jote.
Të falenderoj shumë, të uroj shumë suksese dhe sa më lartë.
Shumë faleminderit Netila.
Faleminderit Netila, faleminderit Eleni. Dikush tjetër në pyetje kështu të mirë, sikur Netila t'ja morim zanatin, t'ja mësojmë zanatin Elenit.
Jo, mi dirë në sekretet.
Dikush tjetër, urnani? Nëse s'keni pyetje, unë e kam një pyetje për Elenin. Elen, tell us a little bit about challenges, specific challenges that you face, in your work, and how do you overcome them? How do you find support? How do you find answers? How do you find solutions to the challenges that you face in your business?
Of course. Challenges come and go every day, no one's perfect, no one knows how to do everything, as much as we like to say we do, it's really hard, to not overcome things. And starting off, like I mentioned, I failed so many times, especially the first step, getting to the place, and then it was like, I'll get to the place, but now my camera doesn't work, and it only happened once. But, that was a challenge that, I was like, I'm done, I can't do this. But I was like, listen, I can take this, I can do something. I'm going to turn my camera off, and I'm going to start it again. Maybe it'll work this time. And it still didn't work. But I was like, just like the mind needs time, of course the camera needs time, And I always connect it to a person. I connect that object to a person. I'm like, okay, this camera needs time. Let me let it cool down. Let me let it do what it needs to do, and I'll pick it up. And so I did just that. I gave it time, and with time, it started working back again. But then, okay, it started working back again. I'll come home, and maybe there's something that, I missed this one perfect shot, But like I mentioned earlier, I got another perfect shot that might not be the normal perfect shot that everyone else gets. So it was something from a different perspective. So it kind of, yes, it brought me down because I thought that there was a standard that everyone needed to kind of reach. But I was like, it's not for me. I'm different. That's always how I, interpret it. I'm like, I'm different. This is my work, it's different. So let me not get those normal casual shots that everyone gets. It's different, it's a different point of view. That means it's gonna be different for me, And then definitely support, I would say it's word of mouth. So my parents would say hey, can I help you? But they don't know anything about photography. How are you gonna help me? You don't know anything about it, But they're like, muna metni mua se you can editing it, And I'm like, ti din ngjyrën plus diġà ç'a jam të ba, then so it's like jeto munu me vni mu, po nuk munet me t'ni mu kosh po se ne move vetin. So if you don't help yourself, no one can help you. And, you know, challenges come and go, and they still come and go now, you know, nothing is perfect, you know, camera still turns off sometimes. It's not the camera's fault, you know, it happens. When you don't think about it, something happens. And I think that everything happens for a reason. And based off the things that have happened to me, it's only made me grow over time. It's pushed me to like my comfort zones. Like I don't know what I would have done if I didn't think about like what I can do with my camera. What do you do when your phone doesn't work? You know, what do you do when your phone is dead? Where are you going to charge it if there's no charger? You know? So it's kind of that idea. Like you need to find alternative ways to get about everything, and as long as you take it with, you know, a peaceful mindset, you'll be good. You'll be good.
Yeah, you have to be resourceful, right? You have to be resourceful in a moment, you know.
Definitely.
And like you said, stay focused, huh? Stay focused and
Stay
not
focused.
don't take it personal.
Take it personal.
Yes. No, that's great. Thank you so much. Anybody else has any question before we wrap it up? Anybody? Okay, well, if you don't have any questions, I just want to take my time to really thank Eleni for taking her time to share her story. Incredible, inspiring story. And I encourage you to continue sharing your story. This is so inspiring for young girls and women, especially in our nation. And this is amazing journey. It's so much to learn from. I wish you all the best, all the success. Like I said, you know, not only to reach what is the highest level in your industry, but I one day we would like to see you going beyond that, like setting a new standard in your industry of photography. And thank you everybody else for participating and for your great questions. And yeah, I'll see you in the next events. Eleni, one more time, thank you so much. It's been incredible to hear your story. It's so inspiring. Keep up the great work. I wish you all the best in what you're doing. So I'll see you in the next events.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. Thank you for letting me, you know, do this. It's definitely something I love doing, and I hope I can do it more in the future. Inshallah, I'll meet you guys wherever you guys are one day. You know,
Yes.
I don't know where everyone else is from, but
Yeah,
hopefully.
we will probably invite you again to tell your story. So
Whenever you guys want.
Yeah, because we want to hear your story again. We want to see again where you are and celebrate your successes. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys are staying safe and wish you guys nothing but the best in life. Thank you.
Thank you.